Hey, gang. Welcome to another episode of the Dudes Podcast. I'm your old pal, Uncle. With me is my brother, Devin.
Salutations. God, that's
And
good. That was good.
that was good. And English, too. Taylor, who is
He has not
normally
left
with us, he has not left us. They've been doing a lot of travel for the holidays. So last time they were visiting my dad, his wife's dad, who is our sister, for his birthday, and now they're visiting Taylor's family. So we miss him, and I know he misses being a part of this, but he'll be back 2025, the return of Taylor Foster. So that'll be big. Yeah, we got some fun things lined up for this, but first we want to mention the affiliations that we're really thankful and blessed to have. Number one being Live Bearded. For any of you guys,
hang on. I got the vibes going
look at the vibes.
with
That
the Live Bearded American candle.
look at that.
Awesome.
That American scent is just it's
American.
for me. Yeah, it just smells like America and freedom. But Live Bearded, they're an awesome company, and I'm very pleased to be an ambassador for them. They do a lot of good work with a lot of great charities. Every one of their products, whether it's for beard or body or accessories like the candle, or even their utility spray cologne that also acts as a, hey, your gym bag stinks, let's freshen that up a bit. All of that is made right here in the U.S., and they are a great company. I'm really pleased to be an ambassador for them. So go check out the link below. It'll be in the description. Go there, shop, and when you use that link, when you shop with that link, you will get 10% off your purchase because of your old pal Uncle here. We're very pleased to be affiliated with them. Also, Metabolic Meals. There's so much food here at the holidays.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a meal.
I was about to say, wow. There's so much food here at the holidays, including 3 different turkeys that yours truly smoked. And I got to say, the last one that I did for me and Paula, I think might be my favorite one. So I'm just saying.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Is the honey bee, or what is it? Killer honey bee?
Honey killer bee.
Yeah. So it was good.
It crushed. It really,
oh man,
it really did. And and then tonight we made little sliders with sweet Hawaiian slider buns, and with something I got for Christmas, I got some of Cosmo Q's championship barbecue sauce, and we put a dab of that on the turkey.
Oh man, that sounds really good.
It was unreal. So I think these turkeys are going to roll around again. But anyway, there's a lot of food, and I am looking forward to getting back on my routine. And part of that routine are the meals, the chef prepared gluten-free meals with great macros that I get from Metabolic Meals. Again, there's a link below, and if you use that link, there's no subscription required. You can order some meals, and my link will get you 10% off on that. So give them a try. They're the best tasting pre-prepared meals that I've ever had. And again, macros are really great. You have the option to add in extra protein. There are keto options, whatever you want to do. And they have things that can fit any, allergy needs, things like that, any dietary needs. So check them out. Use the link below. We're very thankful for these 2 affiliations, and I just wanted to mention that up front. So with that out of the way, Christmas has come and gone. Go ahead, Devin.
No, I don't have anything. I was just making
I thought you were giving me the hold up.
Sorry.
Christmas has come and gone, sadly. Why is it so sad when Christmas is done?
Because it is. It's sad.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. But a new year is upon us, and we wanted to finish out the year with our list of the best of 2024 where movies and TV are concerned. It's funny the way Devin and I where our entertainment kind of set up, Devin's been able to watch more TV shows than I have in the tiny bit of free time that he and his wife have, outside of work, outside of church, outside of being parents, outside of date night and things like that. And I have watched, I don't know that much fewer TV shows is true, but there are some that he's been able to enjoy that I haven't seen. But I've been able to see more movies. Not a ton more, but some. So I've got a list of my top 5 favorite movies of 2024. And Devin has a list of his, is it top 5?
Yeah, I got a top 5. I have some honorable mentions. Then I have some that I have not seen that I want to see. These are not meant to be comprehensive lists. These are just what we enjoyed.
Yeah.
What our top 5 from what we saw this year.
Exactly. And I've got a few TV shows that I know are on his list, and then maybe I think 1 or 2 that aren't on his list that I may mention once we get to that point as an aside. But
you did not clear this with me, but
I know.
I will allow it.
It's called On the Fly. What was that?
Sorry, that was my mic about to fall off.
I thought you were dropping the elbow in my decision to. Devin's like, I tell you what, go. How about that? The people's elbow.
I'm still trying to get situated here a little bit, so I apologize for all the shifting around.
Yeah, and if we seem a little out of sorts, it's because we missed a few texts from each other today, and
you mean me?
No, I wasn't. No, and so we're like, hey, you want to do this now? So yeah, here we are.
And my kids are home, so where I do the space where I do the podcast here was in complete disarray. I mean, Legos everywhere.
Yes.
And I think I had some popcorn in the floor here too. And my shoes got in here somehow that I did not bring in here, along with a glowy wand from the Danny Go concert and my suitcases. So,
and your suitcases?
My computer bag. There it is.
Got it. Okay. I thought they were like rolling in your.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
That's true. And I think Auntie and I are partly to blame for some of those Legos that they may have had in there.
It was the majority of his gifts this year, so I mean, it's just all the Legos.
All the Legos. Also, you may have noticed that Uncle is in a different location. I keep changing locations. I figured for the movie talk, I should be in the movie room. So I'm very excited about that. Behind me, you may see posters of meaningful movies to me. Superman the movie, we've talked about that. Batman 89, the first movie Devin and I saw with my dad as it was a moment. We had seen other movies with him, obviously, but that was a special moment, and then others that you may not be able to see.
It may have been my first theater visit.
That's true, because you were, when that came out, you were 3. You're about to turn 4, so that's probably true. But anyway, do you want to get into this, or do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm also just realizing that I watched Batman when I was 3, but like really enjoyed it, and vividly remember going home and like acting it out.
Oh, absolutely. The next day, Devin's like grabbing me by my shirt and going, "I'm Batman," and who wouldn't? I mean, that's great. That was a great experience, that movie. But anyway,
I have vivid memories of being in the theater. Maybe we can talk about. Maybe we should do our favorite Batman movies listed.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. And we could do a Superman one, but that would be a 3-minute. I don't know. I could talk about Superman the movie for a long time.
I could talk about Man of Steel for a long time because it had a lot of potential, but
so much potential.
Stupid stuff like killing Jonathan Kent with a tornado.
With a
come on. I mean,
I know the wind around me is super crazy, but I'm standing perfectly still. And by the way, whatever. And you know what? I think he caught some of that stupidity when he made Horizon Chapter 1. Anyway, that's off topic. But all
Is
right,
it?
so let's get rolling. Let's get rolling with this.
Let's start
for
with
the-
your movie list, Lauren.
Okay, so as Devin said, these lists are not exhaustive. These are just movies that I really enjoyed this year. Out of the ones I saw, there's a lot of movies that did really well that I didn't see. I didn't see Inside Out 2, and a lot of people seem to like that. And there are several other movies that folks seem to like that I did not see. And there's a lot of movies that people really hated that I also didn't see. So I'm thankful for that. But, so yeah, starting with number 5, oddly enough, Transformers 1.
I've heard good things about that. It's animated, right?
Yeah.
Would
it's
John
actually,
like it?
yeah, I think so. I'm trying to remember if there's any, I think he would actually. There's some really funny parts, and then it gets pretty serious. I typically am not a big fan of prequels because I feel
Agreed.
like they're money grabs, and I don't mind grabbing for money. I mean, money pays for things, and people need money, but they're just
For knives.
money can't buy knives. What movie is that? Comment below. But I normally don't like prequels because the whole idea of, hey, you want to see how all your favorite characters met? Not really. Not really. If
I wanted to see that like back in the beginning.
Yeah.
Before
Do
you
that
develop,
first.
yeah, before the
do
character
that
development.
first and give me my characters and keep going. Keep going
Yeah.
with the people that I like. So that's just me. It took like even back when the Star Wars prequels came out, it took me a while to really get into that because I was like, you're not Han Solo. Who are you? You know? But anyway, yeah, Transformers 1 was really good. I thought it was funny. I really, when I saw that Chris Hemsworth was the voice of Optimus Prime again, because once I lock into something, I don't like to let go. And I grew up with the original Transformers.
You and everybody else. That's why he's still doing it, right?
I grew up with Peter Cullen. And when you throw Chris Hemsworth in there, which seemed to me, and I like Chris Hemsworth, I think he does a good job in the things he's in. It felt like hey, he's the hot star right now. Let's put him in there. And but he did a really good job. All the voice actors did a really good job. The characters were interesting. The story was, sure, yeah, maybe a little predictable, but it was still fun. And I watched it in here. I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it in here. I can't remember what streaming service I watched on, maybe Amazon. And it was Amazon Prime. It was good. I enjoyed it. So that's my number 5, Transformers 1. Number 4, Deadpool and Wolverine. I enjoyed that. I could have done without some of the more graphic jokes in it. I know that's...
Well, it's from what I understand. I've not seen it yet because I have children and I haven't seen the inside of a theater in probably since Shazam, I think, maybe.
You're not missing anything, by the way.
And I don't have a Disney Plus subscription, so yeah. But from what I hear, they almost went. They tried to go over the top to be like, "Hey, we're still edgy,"
Yeah, they did, and I don't think they needed it, but I still enjoyed it. If you watch Hugh Jackman in interviews, it's like Ryan Reynolds poked fun at him about that he's a sensitive little starlet. Ryan Reynolds actually said that to him and about him in an interview. So he doesn't exude the manliness that Wolverine does, but my goodness, that guy, he just owns that character. And it's going to be tough if they reboot that character and give it to somebody else because they're just...
Cavalrine would do a pretty good job, though.
I think so, man. I think they need to give Cavill a shot because
he may be too old at this point.
But I think it fits. Too old. I mean,
he's 41.
How old's Hugh Jackman? Hugh Jackman.
Oh, he's in his 50s. Yeah, but I mean, like, you got to think about it's like when they cast the actor whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce that they recently over the last few years cast as Blade, he was already pushing 50 when they cast him. And I was like, this is not going to last.
And by the time that gets out of development hell, he'll be 72.
It's not getting out of development hell.
They're never going to do that. Yeah, Deadpool Wolverine was really good. Ryan Reynolds is great as the character. Hugh Jackman's just awesome. And it was a really good way of doing the typical, early phase Marvel fare where the villain is okay, but the stakes don't feel super high, but they feel high enough, but you care about your lead characters and want to see them succeed. And there are really, really, really funny parts. There's good action. So that's my number 4. Number 3, Abigail. That one,
I don't even know what this is.
They ruined the premise in the trailers. Big surprise. But it was it's a movie about these criminals who are hired to kidnap a rich, powerful businessman's daughter, who's a ballerina, and her name is Abigail, and she's a little girl, maybe 9, 10, maybe, and hold her for ransom. Well, they kidnap her. They take her back to one of her father's properties, I think, and turns out she is spoiler alert, a vampire.
Oh, snap.
And it turns out her father is a very feared vampire who runs a crime organization, and his daughter is his enforcer. And like the FBI knows that this crime lord that they don't know is a vampire has this enforcer that does brutal damage to people that cross, the organization. And it's this little girl, and she just wants to play with her food. And they're really funny parts. It was just a fun movie. I liked it. If they hadn't ruined it with the trailer, I think they could have gotten more box office. But even though they ruined it, I thought the trailer was intriguing, and I watched it, and I bought it. It's a fun movie. So
I didn't even know this movie existed.
Really, like gore. It's a gore fest. That's not. There's a lot of blood. How about that? It's not a gore fest. It's not like.
No, Saw is a gore fest.
Yeah, and a gourd fest. There's way too much squash in it. Anyway, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. Number 2 for me, Carry On, the Netflix movie that came out right around Christmas. It really pulled from a lot of 80s and 90s everyman action movies.
Yeah.
And Jason Bateman was so good in it.
He was so good. He was such a good villain.
Such a good villain. I mean,
he's just
so
a fantastic actor. He really is.
Absolutely. And he honestly, he was the one that sold me on it. I'm going to butcher his name, Taron Egerton. I think that's how you say his name.
I think that's right. Who I think could be a good replacement for Wolverine personally.
Maybe. He's got to work on his running, though. He did a Tom Cruise run a couple times, and he had the big, Skechers Comfort sneakers or something like that security folks wear, and he runs with his feet out like this, and they just look like big Ronald McDonald shoes. And I'm like, that's a pretty good run, kid, but wow, those shoes, and he's like, here I come. But I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was well done. They made you care about several of the characters. Like there's one character that dies in it. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. And you're like, no. Oh, man.
And then the his buddy.
Well, don't spoil it. That's what I'm saying.
He was really likable.
Yeah. It was you cared about him making it through. You cared about his girlfriend making it through. Jason Bateman really did a great job about, man, they got to stop this guy. And
he was so cold. Just what played
cold, man.
Like a really good psychopath,
Yeah, just a heartless
but can make you like him, you know?
That was what was crazy. Is he still had the Jason Bateman charm
Right.
that he brings to his comedic roles. I haven't really seen him in a ton of serious roles. I saw him in the movie The Gift, and he was fantastic in that.
I've seen him in just his cameo in Dodgeball is amazing. In Arrested Development, he's hilarious.
Yeah, and that cameo in Dodgeball.
I stopped watching Ozarks, but he was really good in that. That got too dark for me. It was There was a scene. I had just had my son, and there was a scene with a baby, and and I was like, nope, I'm out. Like, I can't do this anymore. It's too dark. And it's one of those shows that doesn't have any upswing, like Breaking Bad. I can't do Breaking Bad. I need hope. I need some kind of some hope of resolution, you know, and
we're getting into TV, but that's reason. No, that's one reason why it's hard for me to watch TV shows, because I don't trust them, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch you if you're just going to be bad, the end. And there's nothing, because
there's a lot of them out there too.
Right. And I'll just watch the news if I want that. Right. That kind of stuff doesn't entertain me. If it entertains you, cool. That's awesome. But lastly, after Carry On, number one for me, Dune Part 2. These Dune movies.
Oh man, that was good.
I really, really hope they finish this out, because Dune Part 1 blew me away, and I could not wait waiting for Dune 2 was super hard, because once I saw Dune Part 1, I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then waiting for it was just great. The cinematography in these movies is crazy. The special effects are crazy.
Some of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah. Everything that you're seeing on screen is just, it's unreal. And then the acting is great.
So good. I didn't expect to like Timothée Chalamet so much.
I agree.
And I when I found out Austin Butler was going to be in it and be a tough guy, I was like, oh no. And play Sting's, I don't know what I don't want to try to say his name, but Sting's character from the old Dune series, Dune movie. I was like, this is not good, but he did a really good job.
Yeah. Everybody. I mean, even Batista.
Yeah.
Is he one note? Sure. But everybody's doing a great job. I mean,
and Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron is just
ridiculous.
Really creepy.
Zendaya, I could have used a little more like
I'd agree.
Emoting. I thought she did a really good job in the first one. She's not in it a ton, but in this one she had the same face the whole time. And but it wasn't enough to take me out of the movie. That's my number one. And talking about Timothy, is it Chalamet? How do you say it?
Chalamet. That's the way I say it. Yeah.
And I know this is a 2023 movie. I thought he did great in Wonka. He was great in that. But I'm really I need to get caught up on the news about Part 3. But man, Dune Part 2, number one this year for me. I a couple of honorable mentions, actually. 3 Wolves that was released on Apple.
I enjoyed that.
I did too. They were going to do a sequel and canceled it.
What?
It probably doesn't make sense financially with how much those 2 actors cost, and it just going straight to streaming, because it wouldn't have made a dime in the theater. But all the way back since Ocean's 11, I enjoy those 2 on screen together, and they were great.
They're
in this
really
movie.
funny.
They're just, their dynamics just great.
Yeah. And I think I've come to like George Clooney the older he's gotten.
I agree. I agree. Another honorable mention, The Fall Guy, because I grew up
Still
with
haven't seen that.
I recommend it. It's just fun. Is it great? No, that's why it's not in my top 5. But if you go in with low expectations and you just have some fun, it's a fun movie. And I grew up with the Fall Guy TV show, and I thought they did a good job. They really leaned into the 80s, paying homage to the 80s, especially, oddly enough, Miami Vice, which is weird that a TV show from the 80s is paying homage to another TV show of the 80s. It's kind of meta, but not really. But
Wait. What's meta mean?
huh?
What's meta mean?
It's metaphysical. It's just that they're aware of each other, even though they exist in the same.
Okay.
Um,
I knew that.
and comments are probably shredding me, being like, "That is not what that means at all." What do you want from me? I enjoyed that movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Guy Ritchie movie. I enjoyed that. Again, was it all it could be? No, but I thought it was.
That one.
I thought it was fine, and I know not everybody, but a lot of people have Nosferatu in their list of best of 2024. I am in the minority, although I did see some audience scores on Rotten Tomato that agreed with me on this. I hated that movie.
So, spoiler alert. Can you say can you give a non-spoiler reason why you hated it?
Well, it was a slow burn that didn't burn to anything. And the character that you're supposed to hope gets saved, you're just like, shut up. And at least me. And then so it was a slow burn. It was the scares in it were jump scares, really loud jump scares, even though it's supposed to be a slow, dark, gothic tale. They had really pretty intense jump scares. Not a fan of killing children. Just not a fan of that. They just show that from a silhouette standpoint, but spoiler alert, no, the vampire does kill 2 little girls. And the thing that ruined it for me, I nearly laughed out loud when I saw Bill, how do you say it, Skarsgård, as Count Olaf. It's the most ridiculous look I've ever seen. If you Google Snidely Whiplash, imagine a slightly decomposing, emaciated Snidely Whiplash, but without the twirl in the mustache, a mustache that covers his mouth. So, the scary fangs that vampires have, and especially the Nosferatu vampire from the 20s, you can't see those because they're covered by this giant, bushy, black mustache.
What?
It's the most ridiculous. Oh, Devin. So, do you remember?
I'm like sitting here trying to find a picture of it.
Oh, you're not going to find it.
Mustache?
They're keeping it heavy under wraps. So, Devin, think back to the Batman, right? The Robert Pattinson one. Remember the captain, not the commissioner that got killed, but the captain he talked like that.
Yeah.
Make that mustache a little bushier. That's Nosferatu. The sunken in face, the sunken in eyes. Like, dude, his eyes are just like normal eyes. They're not even super spooky white or crazy or anything like that.
I'm so confused right now.
It was the most disappointing look of any movie monster I have ever seen. When I first saw him, I nearly laughed out loud. And I'm not like super desensitized because I had heard people talking about just how terrifying he looked and how terrifying his voice was, and I didn't get any of that. And I saw it in a pretty full theater. And for the next showing, there was a huge line for it. It was dark and gothic and weird, but it wasn't anything. It was long and drawn out. The cinematography was great for the first half, and then you're like, okay, but what's happening? And I don't know. I know it's some people that I absolutely respect and subscribe to and watch. It's their number one
Jeremy
movie of
Johns
the year.
really liked it.
Yeah, and
It's like his number one.
I really like Jeremy Johns, but just for me, maybe it was the mood I was in when I saw it, but it just took me out when I finally, because when they started showing him, like barely showing him, I'm like, does he have a mustache? And I started like looking around at all.
You're totally pulled out of the story by his mustache. I love
Totally pulled out because like the 1922 Nosferatu monster or the 1970s TV show Salem's Lot, the monster in that one, it really pulled from the 1922 Nosferatu movie.
How did they mess it up? I don't really understand how they messed it up so bad.
I really thought it was going to be, and when you first saw the silhouette of him, you're like, oh, when they reveal his face, this is going to be horrific. And then the way things go out and then the way things end, at least for me, I was just like, what? I full disclosure, I nearly walked out.
Oh, wow. That's saying a lot.
But I stayed because I've paid the money. There's nothing offensive about the movie, so I pay. Well, that's not true.
Well, killing children is.
Yeah, and there was other stuff that. There was one scene I'm like, okay, I won't discuss it, but it was just. But anyway, like you build up to we must kill the Nosferatu. Yeah. Anyway, that happened. That's how it was. Let's go kill him. Wow. Yeah. Oh, so that there he's and the end. Good night, everybody. That's what it just felt like. It just felt like it built up with this long.
Oh, I can't stand
slow
stuff
burn,
like that.
and then just farted away. So anyway,
I don't mind slow burns, and I mean, especially when there's a payoff, like Severance was a super slow burn for me. But that last episode was, man, that was really good.
So good. But anyway, that's my top 5 movies of 2024. Comment below, what's your top 5 for this year? Let us know down below. I'm going to turn the TV portion over to Devin. I may have a couple to mention, but Devin, what are your TV shows?
So, again, there's a lot of TV out there, and it's not comprehensive. This is just the top 5 out of what I have taken in this year as an individual, as opposed to
being many people at once.
Or am I? So number 5, let's see. Yeah, number 5 for me is going to be the new Tyler Sheridan show, Landman.
I haven't seen that yet. I didn't know it was a Tyler Sheridan show.
Yeah. And it's got Billy Bob Thornton in it, who I've never been a big fan of him. Not not like for any reason other than he's just never really caught my attention in anything. I understand lots of people like him, but he is so good in this, and he's really funny, but he's like kind of a snarky funny, and it's been really good. It's kind of filled that somewhat. It won't totally fill that Yellowstone gap for me, but it's kind of fitting in that place for me. But and heads up, if you've got kids, it's not a kids show. There is an inappropriate scene, like I feel like Tyler Sheridan has to get something inappropriate in like the first 2 or 3 episodes. There's gonna be some nudity or something, and I'm not about that. Except
for Tulsa King.
Yeah, except for because he can, because isn't it on cable?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Sorry.
So yeah, so just heads up, if you need to guard yourself or whatever, we're Christians. Anyways, I won't harp on that too much. But other than that, it's been a really enjoyable show. I've looked forward to it every week. I'm liking not liking these weekly releases that they're going back to.
Instead of the dump of all the shows
Right.
to.
You know, I like it, but I don't like it because I'm like, giving me more. But it also, I heard Zachary Levi make a really good point about Chuck, and I was a big Chuck fan.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah, and he said it's, you know, because there was a resurgence and everything on streaming. He said, but it's tough because when it was a weekly release, you sat with the characters over a longer period of time. Mm-hmm. So you grew with them. And when you binge something, you just don't get that you don't get to sit with the characters as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, with Landman, it's a weekly thing, so you get to sit with the characters a little more. But the acting is really good. And the guy that plays his son, I'm like, his whole story, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but they've made his story really intriguing. But yeah, my number. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So you made a really good point, and it speaks to who we are as dudes about the type of things that people would encounter if they watch that show, and that if they need to watch out for themselves and stay away from that kind of stuff, that's really important. I do want to go back and mention, since I was trashing Nosferatu, if you still want to see it and you're wanting to keep yourself away from seeing things like that, there is a decent bit of nudity. It's not gratuitous, but you see a lot of things that you don't need to see. But they're trying to do it in an art house kind of way. You even see Nosferatu Weiner in a scene that made me laugh so hard, because it was supposed to be a really scary scene. He's like, ha ha, and he stands up out of his coffin. He's like, yeah, it is cold in this coffin. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because it's supposed to be this really scary, like it's the moment where they completely reveal him, and they just reveal, you're just like, but it's still kind of dark, and you're just going, so he has a mustache and that? Oh.
Well, and
anyway.
that's one of the things I really appreciate about watching stuff at home is I can fast forward it, or I can watch it through something like VidAngel.
Yes.
Where it gets rid of all that garbage for me anyways. But yeah, it's with Landman. There's one inappropriate scene that lasts for a second. And it's not one of those like where it used to, where it really bugs me, and I will straight up stop watching your show. If you do those cuts, like The Sopranos did this, and I stopped watching it, where it would just cut to an inappropriate scene, and you would have it would just be like normal scene, and then next scene, and it's something you don't want to be looking at, you know?
It's just bumping, and you're just like...
Yeah. I'm like, you can't, I'm not going to put up with that. Also,
No.
hot take, talk about a slow burn. So I couldn't hang with Sopranos, man. I kept waiting for it. I kept waiting for it to get started, and I couldn't. And I know it is considered by many people to be the best TV show ever. Man, I couldn't. And then on top of the surprise, like inappropriate cuts, I couldn't hang. But with at least Tyler Sheridan gives you a little heads up that is like, hey, you might see something here. You can just be like, this is not something that is going to add to the story at all, you know?
Sorry, I didn't mean to get you off.
No.
List.
I don't. Yeah,
Number 4.
Forgive the soapbox, but
No.
we are Christian dudes, you know. Number 4 might be controversial because a lot of people have not. You know, it's got real mixed reviews. Yellowstone season 5B.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. So season 5A for me was, I mean, it still had the characters and everything, and it still kept my attention, but I was like, yeah, this is, I didn't like the addition of the Piper, I forget her name, Piper something, she's an actress. They introduced her, she was an activist.
I like that she's an actress rather than like some crew person being
Right.
like,
Well, I mean, as bad of an actress as she is, she may as well be.
she's the key grip, and she's like, me.
And nothing I've seen that lady in. Okay, let me see what her name is. Let's see, Yellowstone, Piper, Parabo, I think is her last name. But yeah, everything I've seen her in, I've just been so unimpressed. And the way they handle her in this season is it exactly the way they should handle her. Like, I don't want to give any spoilers because I don't think Lauren's seen it.
No, I haven't. Not yet.
The way they handle her, I'm like, yep, that's exactly that's how forgettable she is.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
And-
I've seen her before.
and so for me, I've Yellowstone might be my favorite drama ever for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm talking about TV shows, I'm really trying to rack my brain. I mean, Sherlock was really good.
Man, Sherlock's really good.
The ending was a bit, it fizzed out a little bit. But
Yeah.
the thing about Yellowstone is it sucked me into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And Sherlock was, I mean, it's right there,
Yeah.
for me. Because Sherlock, the writing was, especially the first, 3 seasons or whatever,
Yeah.
it was so good. And then the dude that played Professor Moriarty, I forget his name right now, but just brilliant acting.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I don't know why he's not in more stuff. But yeah, Yellowstone is one of my favorite dramas of all time because of how the world building and how I'm moving to Montana and I'm gonna be a cowboy, even though I know it would crush me. It would destroy me.
Yeah. Like 15 minutes in, you'd be like, no, somebody tell the Native Americans to come get it. I don't want it. Please. Oh, but what are their names? The Wasabi tribe? I don't know. Come here.
I have to say, I was so like wigged out that I was like, Kevin Costner left. This is not going to be the same. How are they going to do this? And it is awkward when somebody leaves. They have to do something about it, and they're not there to finish it out, so they have to start with them not being in it. So it's just awkward. Handled it as best they could, and hot take, I think Kevin Costner leaving saved season 5. Yeah, that's my
You
hot
heard
take
it here, folks.
Yeah, I think it saved season 5 because it gave a new. How do I say this without spoiling? It just it gave a new type of tension to the series, and they only had a handful of episodes to wrap it up, and there's only so much you can do, and with that little time, with the lead leaving, I just don't think you could have done anything better.
Yeah.
And so props to Tyler Sheridan for that. And people are complaining, he put himself in too many scenes. Man, what? It's his show, like.
Yeah.
They're like, he's not part of the family. I'm like, whatever. It didn't take me out of the show. It didn't take me out of the show. I never was like, all right, okay, just get on with it.
Yeah.
But shout out to what's his name, Luke Grimes. And I'm usually better with names than this. Yeah, Luke Grimes, that cat is a good actor. The guy that plays Casey.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
man, he does such a good job in season 5B. And I was, yeah, I
I'm
was
only on season 3, so I'm looking forward to getting there.
yeah, it's and see after season 3, it does 4 and 5 kind of start to slow down a little bit. You know, you're like, all right, and then it ends good. I think the ending is what with what they had to work with, probably the best they could have come up with.
Wow.
And
Cool.
and keep it happy, you know, because yeah, I don't want to say too much because Laura's not seen it, so
Yes. Please.
I don't want to spoil anything. Okay, all right, 3, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but The Gentleman, man, that was a good show.
That was a good show.
Super, and I cannot wait for the next season.
That's on my list. That I really enjoyed that show. I enjoyed the movie and thought, wait, but you
Me too.
really?
Yeah. Me too.
But man, once I got in, I was like, oh, okay. What? Yeah, it was
Totally.
great. It was great.
Yeah. And number 2 is another Tyler Sheridan show, Tulsa King. And this season was freaking, oh my God. Like,
Man, it was awesome.
it was so good.
We're both big Sylvester Stallone fans.
Yeah.
Rocky, maybe it's in my top 3 franchises of all time. And man, that he really took a bigger role as a producer this season, I think. And, and I don't know how much that had to do with it, but boy, oh boy, I enjoyed season 1 so much that I was nervous they were gonna, kind of poop the bed in season 2.
I agree.
And the first episode, I was like, okay, and then like Jelly Roll showed up in the second episode or something, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? I mean, no disrespect to Jelly Roll, it just
was
felt
shoehorned in.
yeah, it was just like, hey, come here, you're hip. But boy, oh boy, that got my wife didn't watch season 1 with me, but she watched season 2 with me, and she really enjoyed it as well. So sorry, I didn't mean to take over.
No, please interject. And one thing I have to give to Tyler Sheridan is I do feel like he knows how to, and this is, we've had this conversation before. If you don't have to gender swap a role or shoehorn in a character to have an interesting female character, and Tyler Sheridan writes strong women really well.
He does. He really does.
Beth Dutton, I'm just as scared of her as I am.
Yeah.
Like, Casey.
Yeah.
And the women in Tulsa King, they're great. And the love interest in this season, I forget her name. Again, apologies. I'm usually better with names, but they made her this. She's still good, but she's not easily scared.
Who's love interest? See, I'm thinking from a season. Oh, you're talking about Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Dana Delaney.
Yeah. And her character, it's so great because she's feminine. She's got a softness about her, but she's not easily rattled.
Yeah.
And that's great.
True.
That's awesome, and that's what we're talking about when we say you just have to write strong characters. You don't need to shoehorn stuff in. And Star Wars,
yeah, right. He really wrote. So the characters in this show are so strong. Like, there are things that happen to certain characters throughout the season. If you haven't seen it, I won't get into spoilers. But like, I remember the one episode where there was the car bomb.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Paula and I, my wife, we were just sick, man. We were acting like it had happened to somebody we knew that was real. We were like, oh my word, what are they gonna? Oh no, and but anyway, you really care about all of these characters, and the people you're supposed to like, you do like, and the people you're not supposed to like, you really don't, because they're really well written and really well acted, and yeah, and it ended on a great cliffhanger. And
Yeah.
you're just wondering where it's gonna go. I did see
It's making me nervous again.
yeah, yeah. I did see a post from Sylvester Stallone. He had the script in front of him, and they're starting on season 3 right now.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. So that was number.
That was Tulsa King was number 2.
Oh, here's number 1.
And real quick,
Oh yes.
Tyler Sheridan is especially good at those OMG moments, like you're talking about. And man, because it's kind of concentrated, just going back to Yellowstone 5B, there's a lot of those moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. You know?
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 1, in my opinion, it's not a competition. The Penguin was one of the best shows I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it deserves all the awards. It deserves Best Actor. It deserves Best Supporting Actress. It deserves Best Miniseries.
Yeah.
I mean, they did such an amazing job. First of all, you want to see the next week. Again, you sat with it longer because it was a weekly release. And so you just anticipated, man, it's been so fun having something that I'm like, oh, you know. And what was really cool is that a lot of them are being released on Sundays now, you know. So I think Penguin, so Sundays are always like, there's a lot of anticipation around that. But Colin Farrell, it's such an impressive piece of acting.
It's an unreal performance.
You care about every character.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden hate them. Like,
Right.
it's wild.
You hate some, and then some you've hated you're suddenly sympathetic towards.
Right.
And then some that you were sympathetic, you're just like, ugh. I mean, like, not even hating, you're just like, oh, you're a problem, you know. Man,
And
it was just, it makes you really hope that James Gunn doesn't screw up that universe.
Yeah. Well,
And
he
that he
has
doesn't
said that's
take
not
away
part
from
of
it.
the. It's not
No,
part of
he
the.
has, but also you can kind of sabotage it too
Yeah.
by confusing the regular movie audience, the normies, if you will, and make them go, wait, so is that Batman in this
Right.
that kind of thing? Because I'll, like, for my wife, I really have to tell her, no, it's not. Well, how come Batman's not here? Why is there a different Batman? I'll be like, so there's multiverse. As soon as I say multiverse, she's like, he's like,
I like the way they call it Elseworld, where it's like
it's the same thing.
It is, but it's. I feel like it's
sounds
easier.
cooler.
Well, I think it's easier for people to digest
Not for my
than
wife.
multiverse, where it's just like an offshoot of I don't know, but yeah, the
And
Penguin's
it's not because
writing.
my wife is silly. It's because
I think a lot of
it's
women would agree.
Yeah, she's just
they
like,
just don't care. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Penguin.
No, but the acting, the writing, and the balance of wanting the Penguin to win, but also not making him some. I mean, they did make him. You did have a little sympathy for him, and then they just took that away. You know, and it was so eloquent the way they did it. You're like, oh, I don't like this guy now.
Yeah.
And I really want Batman to get him. That's it. We've made villains too likable in recent history, and it was
I was
nice
really
to
worried
finally.
they were going to make him an anti-hero.
Yeah, me too. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They did not.
No, they did not. It was
Everything
just
he
great.
did. Yeah, everything he does in the series is from a very selfish point of view.
Mm-hmm.
There's no helping anybody, and if he does look like he's helping somebody, there's another shoe that's about to drop.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, it's just a great show. Sorry, Devin, I didn't
And
mean
no,
to.
no, 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 no. And I think spoiler alert, but the bomb in the tunnel where he saves himself
And leaves
that
everybody
was,
else.
Yeah, I mean that was the first moment where I'm like, okay, it was the first moment that not just you think, oh, this is a bad guy, you really start to not like him. You're like, okay, he's not likable. And then
Not
by
at
the
all.
end of it, it was just, yeah.
And then the flashback with his brothers. I won't say anything more.
Yeah. Oh
You're
my
just
gosh,
like,
that was
"Whoa,
dark.
wow!" And then the end. Oh,
And
But
then the
if you
back
haven't seen
signal
it-
and everything, it's so
if
good.
you haven't seen it, honestly, HBO Max or Max, whatever they call it now, it's worth the price just to see that.
I
You
agree.
know,
Yeah.
get the subscription,
Do
watch
like a
that
month or
show,
whatever.
cancel it. Yeah, watch that show in a month, cancel the subscription. It's worth it. It really is worth it.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of honorable mentions. I have enjoyed Shrinking on Apple TV. It's
I haven't seen
it's the premise is sad, very sad, but it's lighthearted enough that it doesn't feel heavy, and it's been enjoyable. And Cobra Kai has been awesome. I've really enjoyed Cobra Kai.
I still need to finish that.
Oh, the new season is really good too, and it looks like they're going to tie it into the new Karate Kid movie, which is really cool.
Which we will probably discuss in the next video.
And I want to see Fallout on Amazon Prime. I haven't seen that. That's supposed to be really good. And I really need to catch up on Only Murders. I am not up on that recent season.
Only Murders in the Building is one of my. It's in one of my top 5. That's another one where they release the episode, an episode every week, and it always ends in a way, at least for me and my wife, where we're like, "What?" Like there were a couple of episodes in this season that we were like, "Okay." But by the time it gets to the end, end of that episode, the episode that you're just like, okay, it gets to the end of that, you're like, oh, what? And it's really good. Really, I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every season, but this one was the writing in it is just great. Steve Martin and Martin Short, they're awesome, fantastic.
It's nice to see Steve Martin kind of bring back comedy again.
Yeah,
because he got away from it so far, got so far away from it.
And it's funny, but he's also got some kind of emotional scenes in this season. But is it okay to mention another TV show that's on my list? Because your list had 3 out of my 5, but my wife and I watched on a whim the Netflix show No Good Deed with Lisa Kudrow and Ray Romano. And I didn't know what to expect. That was a really good show. There were funny moments. It's a good mystery, and it's a good mystery, and there are really good reveals throughout the series. And the end is really good, and it's and there's some pretty serious moments, some sadder moments or whatever, but not anything that's dark. There's nothing overtly dark about it, but it's really we enjoyed it. I don't know what everybody else thought about it, but we enjoyed it quite a bit, and so that's
what was the other one? Did you say
only Murders and No Good Deed?
Yeah.
So that rounded out my top 5. I had Gentleman, Tulsa King, and The Penguin as well. I just started watching Yellowstone from season 1 a few weeks ago. I'm way behind on that. But But yeah, so far I really, really like that show. And is it Taylor or Tyler Sheridan? Tyler? Taylor.
Have I been
I don't
saying his
know.
name wrong this whole time? Oh no, I think it's Taylor Sheridan.
Is it?
No, it's Taylor Sheridan. Whew, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to feel
sorry.
like,
I don't know. I don't know enough to. But anyway, Tulsa King's great, and I really like Yellowstone so far. And I cannot believe. I mean, it may have saved the show, like you said, that Kevin Costner left, but
just my opinion.
The fact that he left for Horizon, an American Saga Chapter 1, that movie was trash.
Dude, I hear that he's in pretty bad debt over that movie too.
Well, yeah, because he spent a ton of money on trash.
And aren't there two other movies that are coming out?
Yeah. Oh, coming out? I don't know.
I think. Oh, you don't think they're going to? I thought he already filmed it.
I don't know that he's filmed the third part. I don't know. I need to research that, and we'll report on that in another episode. But I don't even think there's a release date for part 2. Let's see. Release date September 7th. No, that's chapter 1. What do you so chapter 2 had its world premiere September 7th and scheduled to be released in 2025. Chapter 3 started principal photography in May of 2024, and chapter 4 is in active development. Oh, there's going to be 4 chapters of this nonsense.
Oh man, that's so
absolute
sad.
Garbage that movie was.
And what a way to take such a resurgence like he had in Yellowstone, which is legit a modern Western, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was a modern John Wayne-ish, Clint Eastwood-ish kind of figure, and he just pooped it all away for Horizon.
Man, he did. He's like, I got an idea. Let me do something stupid.
And and to try to capitalize on Yellowstone even more, he was like, everybody come with me. And some people did, but I mean, I guess if you pay him, they'll do anything.
Well, yeah, that's why he's in debt. But also, it's almost like Kevin Costner gets into this mode where he's like, oh man, I am really successful at the moment. I know what I'll do.
This is like his second resurgence, right?
Yeah. And he just keeps being like, I know what I'll do. And he just flushes it down the toilet with some kind of vanity project like this. But anyway, Devin, anything else for this?
No, let us comment below. Let us, don't be too harsh on us, but let us know what you guys, what your lists were, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What did you enjoy?
And if you liked the stuff that we liked.
Yeah. If you did, if you agree with us, if there's any, look, and I'm also fine if you list things you didn't like. But just give us a comment below. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. We're going to be doing more things having to do with this, and we're going to have a lot of fun in 2025. So anyway, that's it for us. Go close out 2024 with people that you love, and be safe. Be safe out there. Make good decisions. Just your old pal Uncle here looking out for you. But anyway, we're going to see you again in 2025 with more to talk about. Until then, I'm Uncle. That's Devin. See you, gang.
Pal.